Tron. And I would think this is a matchup that Will is thrilled to be playing.
Oh, absolutely. Tron is not good. One of Tron's worst matchups is just Burn.
Or Infect.
Right. Decks that can win the game very quickly. And even if your opponent's not dealing damage to you, Will is more than capable of getting himself to that low life threshold. He doesn't play any basic lands, a bunch of fetch lands for untapped dual lands, things like Step Links, Death Shadow, Monastery Swiftspear, get on the board very quickly, Wild Nacatl, and just cycling Street Wraiths, casting Ataxian Probes for life, and just getting on the battlefield quickly, winning with things like 3 copies of Become Immense and the aforementioned Teamer Battle Rage.
All right, underway. Michael Stone starts off on Urza's Power Plant into Chromatic Star. I think from the Tron side, this deck is about as bad of a matchup as Infect. I mean, it's going to play out the same way. Will's going to, you know how Infect players will just throw pump spells at the Tron player? Will's going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So Street Wraith cycles. Will goes to 18. Gitaxian Probe. Will to 16. He sees who he's up against. Stirrings, Scrying, another Power Plant, an Ulamog, and a Karn. So it's double Power Plant, so it's not necessarily turn 3 Tron.
Right. Will sees that there's potential for the turn 3 Karn, but the odds are low.
See how he wants to play against it. Now, there's a couple versions of Death Shadow aggro. One of them is a more Grixis-heavy one with Kiln Fiends. Of note, what Will is playing is he is on the version that still plays Wild Nacatl. So if you're familiar with the deck, his creature base is Wild Nacatl, Step Links, Monastery Swiftspear, Death Shadow.
4 copies of all of these 1-mana creatures, only 2-mana creature in the deck, 1 copy of Abbot of Carol Keep.
And so Will cracking a fetch land. At this point, if Michael doesn't know what deck he's on, he should know now. See Will dealing 9 damage to himself on turn 1. And Step Links. Eventually, after dealing 9 to himself and cantripping 3 times, Will decides he'll play Step Links.
Yeah. We're already in the threshold where Death Shadow can survive. This was his first turn.
So I think, if you haven't seen this deck in play, one of the craziest matchups in Modern is Death Shadow versus Burn. It's just, it's really strange.
It's going to go very quickly, and Burn can go from looking like a very favorable position to just dead.
So scary here. Michael cracks the Chromatic Star, draws Urza's Mine, plays Sylvan Scrying for Tower. So turn 3 Karn on the play is a go for Stone. Will, without any discard, can't stop this from happening. But he could just kill Michael. It is not actually unreasonable that he could 20 Michael. Well, I suppose this turn, probably next turn.
With Drescher's threat base being all of these 1-mana creatures, he doesn't need very many lands to operate, so Karn getting rid of a land, not a huge factor. With all the 1-mana creatures, he's able to just dump them onto the battlefield. Karn exiling the creature, not really that big of a deal.
Generally, the Death Shadow aggro clock is a turn 3 kill. You would be looking at things like Become Immense, Mutagenic Growth, Teamer Battle Rage 20 you.
Yes.
Off 2 mana, because Battle Rage is a 2-mana spell, that's harder. So you see Will play Windswept Heath, attack with Wild in the Step Links. Michael goes to 18. Now Will play Death Shadow as a 2/2. So with a 3rd land, he can 20 Michael using either of these 2 creatures. He could beat the turn 3 Karn on the play.
Yes. This deck is scary, make no mistake.
Yeah, I mean, much like Infect, against decks that take a lot of setup shop, your Scape Shifts, your Trons, this is a horrible matchup.
And there's a lot of confidence in just the way that the Death Shadow build deck is constructed. The fact that there's no basic lands, like, listen, there's no plan B. I think our plan A is just really good.
Karn, -3, he'll go for Death Shadow over Step Links. And now Michael has to see, is he dead?
Yes. Another fetch land will give 3 landfall triggers on the following turn. That means the Step Links would attack for 6 on its own. Teamer Battle Rage, Become Immense, you're dead.
The card Teamer Battle Rage, if it's in Will's hand, is almost certainly lethal here. We go back to Will's turn. He cracks the fetch land, goes to 8. Step Links becomes a 2/2. I mean, Battle Rage would be 2 his mana. Will likely has a lot of pump here, just off land drops.
Yes. So there's 3 Become Immense. 1 Might of Alara is in his deck as well. It's another way to pump up the Step Links.
Sure, it's a big pump spell for 1 green.
Yep, and 4 Mutagenic Growths.
And you can tell with just this, I think, the confidence that Will is making these plays, you feel like Will has him, and he knows it.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely knows that this is just a very good matchup.
I mean, yeah, turn 3 Karn on the play and Will might beat it. That's, if I'm a Tron player, that's discouraging because that's my best trick.
Yes.
were Will on the play, it would almost be he'd almost certainly have won this. On the draw, he could get it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's got to contemplate. Bloodstained Mire. Steplinks becomes a 4/5. He may not have him dead. Will is he in the tank here?
Yeah. Given that there was only one creature last turn, Will's hand pretty creature light.
All right, he'll attack Karn then instead of Michael.
Yeah, wants his Steplinks to stick around. Probably still drawing to that Teamer Battle Rage.
He's hoping Michael doesn't just play a turn 4 Ulamog or another Karn.
Or Ugin.
A lot of ways this could go wrong, I suppose. So he'll tap the power plant, play Chromatic Sphere, use the second mana to turn that colorless mana into, I would assume, green. Here's Ancient Stirrings. What can Stone find? He'll have 5 mana after this resolution, plus whatever land he plays.
So Stone has 1 copy of Wormcoil Engine in his deck.
Ooh, that'd be good.
That presents a lot of toughness that it's difficult to get over with the Teamer Battle Rage.
He'll play Oblivion Stone that he found off of the Stirrings. Now, if he has a tower, he could crack the stone this turn. But he has a power plant, so it's 4 mana.
Not quite there.
Not quite there. He'll play Expedition Map with 1 mana floating and pass the turn. So I think Will has 1 turn to win right now. If Michael untaps, I don't know that Will gets another chance.
Yeah, if what Will needed to win last turn was another mana, the game is certainly over. If he was looking for a spell, he'll have to top deck it.
All right, back to Drescher's turn. He'll sacrifice his fetch land.
Yep, doing this on the upkeep, thin the deck out a little bit.
Heads up, he'll go down to 5.
Also on the upkeep as opposed to end step, he doesn't care about losing life on the shock lands, and you get the landfall trigger on the Steplinks.
Exactly. So now Steplinks becomes 2/3, and Will get Overgrown Tomb. He needs to get up to 18 damage here. I'd be surprised if he can do it without Battle Rage, but it's possible. He does have, I mean, his whole deck's pump.
Yeah, it would take several green spells to get there otherwise. The graveyard is not big enough to delve away 2 Become Immenses.
So fun fact about Will, if you notice while he's playing here, tattoos all up and down the arm. The biggest tattoo is a giant Thassa god of the sea. It's like half the arm. He's a local, played against him a lot. He's a local player from Minneapolis.
Devoted to blue. Not with his deck choice this weekend, but
we'll see if he has the win. Now draws after finding the Overgrown Tomb. How much pump does he have? He has a lot of lands, and for this deck, that's unusual.
yeah, it got a bit flooded this game. That's kind of... The lands are biting him here.
It's a 17-land deck.
And he's been using fetch lands as well, so...
Yeah.
Gotten a few out of the deck.
Here's Steplinks. Either he has it or doesn't. He'll cast Might of Alara. It's for 4 right now. He has every land type except for Island. His deck doesn't play Island. It just goes up to 4. So the Steplinks. And now Become Immense. That's a pump of 10. He had 2 land drops. So it's 14 damage right now.
Fetch land still on the battlefield.
Does he have remaining points of pump?
Crack fetch plus mutagenic growth would get there. When he didn't have it.
No, and Michael will crack that Expedition Map. Down to 4. Will needed 4 more points of damage. This is a win here from... It's unusual that between that fetch land, all Will would have needed was any type of pump spell or any creature with haste to win there.
Mm-hmm.
That was... It's a bad beat that he didn't have it.
Certainly.
And a reprieve for Michael. Now Michael will get to Ulamog. And I'm not sure Will can win from there. He doesn't actually play Burn.
He plays 4 copies of Lightning Bolt. He can win outside of combat that way.
So if he's looking for Lightning Bolt, shouldn't if he cracked the fetch land there to put Michael down to 2?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
I have a maybe, though. Will's got a lot of lands in his hand. Something you should know about this deck, there's only 5 real lands in it. It's 5 lands and 12 fetch lands. It's possible that Will can't crack the Windswept Heath.
Yeah, that's certainly possible, and that would explain...
It's unlikely.
That would explain why his hand couldn't kill. I mean, he just has creatures and pump spells in his deck and then a couple of burn spells.
Yeah, I think he had all the mana producers in his hand. So here's Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. It will exile the Step Links, of course, and the Stomping Ground.
Yeah, I like hitting the red source.
Yeah, Michael's at 4. I'm not sure how Will gets out of this. Michael will play Expedition Map and pass the turn. Will needs to draw Running Lightning Bolts, I guess.
And Will's life total is 5.
Yeah. That is one of the consequences of the Death Shadow aggro deck is you actually are at a really low life total all the time. And does he draw? No, red card. It's not going to do it. Game 1 goes to Michael Stone and Green Red Tron.
Yeah, Will's draw not really lining up the way he needed it to. Only drew 2 creatures in that game.
Yeah, so what I want to point out here, though, so Michael's up a game. But remember, Will had a very unfortunate draw, and Michael had turn 3 Karn on the play.
Yeah.
So...
And it was close.
And it was real close. We'll go to the sideboards. Let's start with Will Drescher's Death Shadow aggro deck. He's got a Thrun the Last Troll, 4 copies of Thoughtseize, 2 Gut Shots, a Dismember, a Deathmark, 2 Ancient Grudges, a Traverse the Ulfen Vault, a Spellskite, an Abbot of Carol Keep, and then 1 more land, a Forest.
So I like Thoughtseize here. In particular, there's a Dismember in the main deck, so getting that out, get the Thoughtseize in, at least 1 copy. I probably bring in multiples just to make sure the coast is clear so you don't overcommit into a sweeper or anything like that. So Thoughtseize is definitely at least an upgrade to the Dismember. You can bring in Ancient Grudge to try to hit an Oblivion Stone before that's sacrificed if we have to play that on turn 3. That one's fine. Those are the 2 cards I'm really looking at here.
And now over on Michael Stone's side, he's going to need extra help. He's up a game, but he actually has some pretty reasonable sideboard options.
Yeah, so Spellskite can redirect any pump spells. He saw Might of Alara, he saw Become Immense, so I like bringing in Spellskite here. Thragtusk gains some life, makes a block, makes a Beastra block again on the following turn. I like Thragtusk. And then he has a copy of Fog, which is a bit unusual.
That seems excellent here.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Will overcommits with a Teamer Battle Rage, and Michael just has Fog. Well, that could very well decide a game. It's like a counter spell and a time walk all rolled into one.
That's great against pump spell decks. So Drescher versus Stone, this one's for top 8. For Michael Stone, if he loses, he's out of top 8 contention. For Will Drescher, he only needs a win in these next 2 rounds. I mean, obviously, the Tron matchup is where he hopes to find it, but a loss does not knock him out of contention.
Right, the first winner in a favorable matchup. This is where he wants to get it.
This may be his best in the metagame. We'll see. Now, if you're just following us here at the Milwaukee Open, we are just starting Season 2 of the SCG Tour, which means we have a whole slew of events to come out and compete for those spots in the Players' Championship and to earn that trophy. So right now, we are in the Midwest as we travel over the country. We'll be 2 weeks, we'll be hitting Indianapolis for a Modern Open before we make our way into the South for the Atlanta Standard Open, the Orlando Standard Open, then we go over to Texas for a Modern Open in Dallas. Now, the remaining season will be up on the East Coast. This is the late summer, so we'll have our 1 Legacy Open of the event. That's taking place in Worcester, mid-July, 9 through 10, so mark that one on your calendar. You're going to want to dust off your Delver of Secrets, your Wastelands, your Force of Wills, or, you know, if you're me, your Emrakul's,
just those cards.
Your Lion's Eye Diamonds.
The ones you mentioned first are fine. We can just stick with those.
Your Chrome Moxes. All right, then we go to Columbus for a Standard Open, Baltimore for Standard. We take a break for our regional championships, and then we have the Modern Open in Syracuse before we have the Season 2 Invitational. That's New Jersey Invitational weekend, Modern and Standard, of course, for the Invitational. You can qualify for that by top 8ing any of these Opens or by winning a local Invitational qualifier near you.
Yeah, lots of ways to get there. Invitational is a very exciting event. Your chance to play in a split format tournament. It's really cool. Showcase your Standard deck and your Modern prowess all in the same format.
So we are giving away playmats at each of these events. The playmat you get depends on the format you play. So for Standard competitors, this is for Opens and Classics, we'll be giving away Sigarda, Heron's Grace. This is the new Sigarda Overshadows over Innistrad. For the Modern event, we'll have the Modern staple. Also, you see an Innistrad theme going on here. This is going to be Ghost Quarter. This is the colorless land that you see really in a lot of decks here. That'll be given away at Modern, Classics, and Opens. And for the Legacy Open in Worcester, or for any of the Sunday Legacy Classics, the playmat art will be the original artwork of Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. So all of these available with entry into any Season 2 Open or Classic for Season 2 of the SCG Tour.
Yeah, really cool arts. I like those playmats a lot. Ghost Quarter would be excellent against Will Drescher's deck. No basic lands in the main deck.
Kind of.
I mean, the deck's still very fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, strip mine.
That's like saying, is strip mine good against burn? And I'd say, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, you can't just like play strip mine go. Like you don't just wasteland on turn 1. You know, like
You strip mine on turn 1 all the time in Magic when that card's around.
all the time. You only get to play one copy.
If I have it in cube or a format where it's legal, and you play a turn 1 land, I'm probably strip mining it.
It depends on what my hand looks like, but you're not wrong.
Looks like Michael Stone on a mulligan here. You'd think he'd have to mulligan aggressively in this matchup.
Yeah, he needs to get his interactive spells, needs to get that fast Tron. Otherwise, he's just going to get run over. There are 4 Pyroclasms in his deck, and that lines up against some of Will's creatures.
Yeah, it's...
We saw Will leaving up a fetch land for the duration of the first game. That blocked for the step links against Pyroclasm. And then the Wild Nacatl naturally good against it. Eventually the Street Wraith or the Death Shadow is large enough.
So on the draw, this matchup is just miserable for Michael. So we see a Gitaxian Probe. It's Thought-Knot Seer, Ulamog, Expedition Map, Sylvan Scrying, Ancient Stirrings, Urza's Mine. There's no green source or second land in this hand. This could go down in... I like Michael keeping it, but this could go down in flames.
Oh, yeah. He's got to find minimally that second land quickly, and even then he needs some specific things to go right.
If his play is turn 1 map, turn 2 crack it, he might not get a turn 3. For Will, his turn 1 play is Wild Nacatl. It's actually just a 1/1. You don't generally see Overgrown Tomb Wild Nacatl.
It's unusual.
Expedition Maps to play for Michael. He played it off the 1 land we know about. Big test is coming up for him. Now we go over to Drescher. Just how bad is the damage going to be here?
Yeah, Drescher has a Teamer Battle Rage in hand.
All right.
Scoped that one.
Cracks a fetch land. This could be for... Yeah, he's got a Sacred Foundry. It could be a 3/3 Nacatl. And that is the one he's going to get. 5 lands in Will's deck.
See, Ghost Carter here would be excellent.
Yeah, it would. Well, except that means Stone will be skipping his land drop, which, oh my goodness.
Yeah, whatever.
Nacatl's a 3/3. It will attack Michael down to 17. Now his Nacatl's out of Clasm range.
Yeah, that couldn't have happened on turn 1, so...
So here's what I like about Will Drescher's deck. He put the Sacred Foundry into play untapped and then said go.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, he's still at 13. He can't even cast Death Shadow yet. We have more life to give.
And for Stone, the risk did not pay off. He kept the 1 lander. He did not hit the 2nd lander. We're now on turn 3. Michael can do nothing but pass.
Yep, totally defensible keep, but sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Step links go for Drescher.
Leaving up a fetch land, so 2 creatures that are Pyroclasm proof.
Michael, turn 3, plays Star, and Will Drescher shows Might of Alara plus Teamer Battle Rage. He's got the win. Game 3.
Yeah. I don't want to mess around with cracking fetch land, shuffling my library. If I just show you that you're dead and you're tapped out, can we go to game 3?
Yeah, just the Nacatl's enough. Make it a 7/7, give it double strike. Hey, that's 14.
Yep.
Step links was just a ruse, never needed.
Yeah, it doesn't take much convincing when you mulligan and miss your second land drop to just pick it up.
Well, a quick 2 games. You see 32 minutes remaining. That's what happens when you register Death Shadow aggro.
Plenty of time to use the restroom, go grab a snack. That's what I look for in a Magic deck.
Will Drescher, with this very same deck, top-aided Minnesota States, SCG States last weekend as well. So he's kind of on a roll here.
Yeah, found something that's good, something he likes. It's a pretty sweet deck. One thing he's been talking about, he said he's been boarding in the Traverse the Ulvenwald almost all the time. I have a feeling that he'll probably be looking to main deck that going forward.
Well, it's interesting. You'd think, so this is an interesting card. It's 1 mana, so it's cost that it could work in Modern. So the card, if it does not have Delirium, finds a basic land, of which Will doesn't play any.
You're right, it's just a blank.
He has 1 in the board. So that's a strange card. If he has Delirium, though, it finds any creature. That's pretty neat. Getting Delirium, he'll always have a land in the graveyard. Instant is free. He's got a million pump spells. Creature could happen. Now, the 4th one, that's pretty hard.
Well, we cast Gitaxian Probe as a sorcery. Street Wraith cycles easily. Fetch lands all the time, and then
Instant's easy. So
yeah,
it's that sorcery though. Without the Gitaxian Probe, it's pretty hard to make this online. It is interesting though. It helps him find. I suppose if he wants to board in that 1 copy of Thrun, he can go get that with Traverse the Ulvenwald, or
yep.
1 copy of Spellskite in the right matchup.
Right. Yeah, probably can't realistically afford to just play a sorcery speed pump spell in the deck to try to shore that up, but still a really cool card. I guess it's been pretty good for him. It's like a 5th copy of Death Shadow when it's online. If you need a haste creature, it's a 5th copy of Monastery Swiftspear. But yeah, you're right. Delirium is kind of a tall order.
So you saw our Season 2 schedule coming up at the beginning of August as the Star City Games Regional Championships. Talked about how Will top-8 states last weekend. Well, Regionals is the next coming up event, and this one part of the SCG Tour, awarding points. Now, there's a lot of things going on. First of all, we have this exclusive playmat and token for the first 200 players to register at each location, and this one, I'm going to let you tell us about the token, Ryan.
Yeah, so it's a Goblin token. Goblins known for their quirky names and their love of puns. This is Ugh, Not Again. Ugh, Not Again.
Ugh, Not Again. All right, this is exclusive to the first 200 players. It's August 6th. This will be standard, the regional championships. We'll have more information, including locations, coming soon. Keep track of this one at starcitygames.com/regionals. Those were quick to fill last time they came around.
What I really like about the joke Ugh, Not Again is it's less funny every time you hear it.
Michael Stone starts off on Chromatic Star. For Will Drescher, once again, it's that great opening of Overgrown Tomb into Wild Nacatl.
Just like we drew it up. The Wild Nacatl could die to Pyroclasm here.
Well, all turn 1 Wild Nacatls die to Pyroclasm, right? So it's not any different.
Oh, yeah, we could have cast it on turn 2.
Who does that? It costs 1, Ryan.
I don't know. Savvy players trying to beat Pyroclasm.
Maybe we want him to cast it. We'll go back over to Michael. We'll see what he has in store. It's Grove of the Burnwillows, so no turn 3 Tron. That's got to be a win for Will.
Yeah, that's something. We'll see if there's a Pyroclasm. Doesn't look like one.
Is that he's just going to Nature's... Yeah, he's going to Nature's Claim his own Chromatic Star immediately to draw a card.
Yeah, so Chromatic Star doesn't have to sacrifice with its own mana ability to draw a card.
Yeah, it's different than Sphere in that regard.
Correct. It's just a separate trigger.
And they'll be in the graveyard. He'll go to 24, draw a card, say go. Back over to Will. Once again, fetches for that Sacred Foundry. Plays Monastery Swiftspear, plays Thoughtseize, gets a Prowess trigger. We'll look at Michael Stone's hand. Remember, this game is for the top 8 and the match. Will go to 14 here. He fetched, shocked, Thoughtseize, and now he sees what he's up against. It's Value Town. We have Thragtusk, Fog, and Thought Not Seer. So it's the whole sideboard, really.
Yeah, knowing about that Fog is big for Will. I can't imagine that we're taking that in the face of Thragtusk. O-Stone's also another potential pick.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great cards here in the matchup for Michael, but the one thing I don't see is Tron pieces.
Yeah.
How much do I get when not only do you Thoughtseize him, but he takes Fog?
So this signals to me that Will has a turn 3 kill.
So Nacattl's a 3/3, Swiftspear is a 2/3. It's 5 damage, Stone down to 19. Remember, he gained 4 off that Nature's Claim.
Minimally, he has turn 4 wrapped up and just doesn't care about Thought Not Seer.
Yeah, well, I also see another Thoughtseize in Will's hand. So maybe he's doing it with that in mind.
Okay.
Ghost Quarters the play, O-Stone for Michael Stone. But no Tron land, so he's going to be 2 turns off activating that one.
And there's a Teamer Battle Rage in Will's hand right now.
Oh, this could be it. You see, he's counting. When I play against my opponent and they start doing that, I just yell at them, like, stop counting.
Just attack. Is it my turn?
No, I don't like it that you're counting. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. It's not lethal. Will plays Marsh Flats. It's land 3.
So there might be 2 Teamer Battle Rage in Will's hand. And
Ooh, second one's not as good. Here's Thoughtseize. Again, will take more damage. That's fine. Urza's Power Plant, Thragtusk, and Thought Not Seer. It's another Tron piece, but it's not the one Stone wants.
Right. He needs 2, and that's just the wrong one.
Will takes Thought Not Seer. So Michael with no turn played this turn or next turn.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're dying before Thragtusk comes down. When you get to 5 mana, you have Oblivion Stone anyway.
Well, he hopes so. I mean, we did see game 1 that Will's deck can fizzle.
Yes.
And it did. That's how he lost the first game. But he'll go ahead and fetch for Blood Crypt, untapped, of course, because that's how we roll in Death's Shadowland.
Right. Yeah, it's not a certain matter. I was just speaking through Will.
You're right. So I guess if he has 2 Battle Rages, one of them would just give Double Strike this turn. He could deal 3 with it, I suppose. Yeah. He'll Battle Rage the Swift Spear, so it prowesses up to a 3/4, gets Double Strike. So it's 3 from the Cattle, 6 from the Swift Spear. Stone goes to 10.
Yeah, the ferocious text is Trample. Don't need that one on a board without creatures.
But 10 means the second Battle Rage by itself is not lethal. It's only 9 again, 9 a second time.
Yeah.
Any instant, any at all, will end the game.
Another Thoughtseize even.
Any sorcery, any instant. It's not looking good for Michael Stone. You see he draws a mine. Okay, that's Tron piece number 2, but he just has no place. He has to play it and just really cross his fingers.
Yeah, and Stone doesn't even have access to Fire Spout, so he doesn't have a sweeper that can kill both of these creatures. A Pyroclasm would have been able to take care of the Swift Spear.
Will has perfect information because Michael played a card that Will hadn't seen. Will double checking. Does O-Stone sack for 4? No, it does not. Here's Become Immense, Teamer Battle Rage, game and match and top 8 for Will Drescher and Death Shadow aggro.
Congratulations to Will Drescher. Really impressive stuff. It's a deck that we haven't really seen since the Pro Tour.
Yeah, and for him, he picking up his losses in rounds 5 and 7. This is his 7th consecutive match win, locking up a spot in the top 8.